They're building digital copies of you, and there's nothing you can do to stop. We live in a world where it is becoming increasingly easier for anyone with a little bit of technical know-how to take a person's face and likeness and duplicate it onto someone else's body, or even make it appear as though the person is saying things they have never said before. Thanks to advancements in artificial intelligence, deepfake technology, voice cloning, behavior modeling, and data replication, we may soon be living in a world where digital copies of people can think, speak, and act just like the real thing. But how far is this technology really from becoming a reality? And if it does become a reality, what kind of impact will it have on our lives? So let's talk about this insane new technology that will make digital copies of you. One of the most popular examples of this technology is a project called Project Terra, which was unveiled by Google in 2021. Project Terra is an AI-powered system that can generate lifelike video, audio, and text from a small amount of input data. For example, researchers at Google were able to use a few minutes of video footage of a person talking to create a digital copy that could then be used to generate realistic videos of the person saying almost anything the researchers wanted. Another similar project is being developed by a company called Lyrebird, which has created a system that can clone people's voices using just a few seconds of audio data. The cloned voices can then be used to create realistic audio clips of the person saying pretty much anything the creators want. But these technologies aren't just limited to creating fake news and deepfakes. They can also be used to create digital copies of people that can interact with others in a way that is almost indistinguishable from the real thing. For example, a company called Engineered Arts has created a chatbot that uses AI to simulate conversations with a person who is very similar to Stephen Hawking. The chatbot can answer questions about pretty much anything, and its responses are so accurate that it is often difficult to tell whether or not you are actually talking to a machine. So how do these technologies work? The answer is artificial intelligence. AI is a branch of computer science that deals with the creation of machines that can perform tasks that would normally require human intelligence, such as understanding natural language, recognizing patterns, and making decisions. In recent years, AI has made tremendous strides and is now being used in everything from self-driving cars to medical diagnosis. The most advanced AI systems are known as deep learning algorithms. Deep learning algorithms are able to learn from vast amounts of data and then use that knowledge to perform new tasks. For example, a deep learning algorithm could be trained to recognize faces by being shown millions of pictures of faces. Once the algorithm has learned to recognize faces, it can then be used to identify faces in new photographs. In the case of the digital copies of people that are being created using deepfake technology and voice cloning, deep learning algorithms are being used to analyze large amounts of data related to the target person, such as video footage, audio recordings, and social media posts. The algorithm then uses this data to create a model of the person's appearance, voice, and behavior. Once the model is created, it can then be used to generate new video, audio, and text that is very similar to the original source material. The potential applications for this technology are truly staggering. For example, it could be used to create virtual versions of historical figures, so that we can interact with them and learn from their wisdom. Or it could be used to create digital copies of loved ones, so that we can continue to communicate with them, even after they are gone. It could also be used to create virtual assistants that are so realistic that they are indistinguishable from real people. Of course, there are also potential risks associated with this technology. For example, it could be used to create deep fakes that are used to spread fake news and propaganda. Or it could be used to create digital copies of people that are used for malicious purposes. However, I believe that the potential benefits of this technology far outweigh the risks, and I'm excited to see how it develops in the future. So what are the potential benefits of this technology? There are many potential benefits to creating digital copies of people. One of the most obvious benefits is that it could allow us to interact with people who are no longer alive. Imagine being able to chat with Albert Einstein or talking to your favorite historical figure. It would be amazing to be able to learn from some of the smartest and most influential people who ever lived. This technology could also be used to create digital copies of loved ones who have passed away. This would allow us to continue communicating with them and even get advice from them even after they are gone. It would also be comforting to be able to interact with a digital copy of a loved one who has passed away. Another benefit of this technology is that it could be used to create virtual assistants that are so realistic that they are indistinguishable from real people. These virtual assistants could help us with everyday tasks such as scheduling appointments, making reservations, and even running errands. So what are the risks associated with this technology? There are also potential risks associated with creating digital copies of people. One of the most obvious risks is that it could be used to create deepfakes that are used to spread fake news and propaganda. It would be easy to create a digital copy of someone who is a public figure and then use that copy to create fake videos and audio clips that could be used to deceive people. This could have a negative impact on society as a whole and could make it difficult to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. Another risk is that this technology could be used to create digital copies of people that are used for malicious purposes. For example, a digital copy of someone could be created that is used to scam people out of money. The possibilities are really endless. When it comes to the bad things that could be done with this technology, what is being done to prevent the misuse of this technology? There are several organizations that are working to prevent the misuse of this technology. One of the most well-known is the Partnership on AI, which is a group of leading AI researchers and companies that are working together to ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly. The Partnership on AI has released several guidelines for the development and use of AI that include best practices for things such as fairness, accountability, and transparency. Another organization that is working to prevent the misuse of this technology is the AI Now Institute, which is an interdisciplinary research institute that is focused on the social implications of AI. The AI Now Institute has published several reports that examine the potential risks of AI and make recommendations for how to mitigate those risks. In addition to these organizations, there are also several government agencies that are working to regulate the development and use of AI. For example, the European Union has proposed a new set of regulations called the General Data Protection Regulation, which would give people more control over how their data is collected and used. The United States has also proposed regulations that would require companies to disclose when they are using AI to collect or use personal information. Overall, I am optimistic that the potential benefits of this technology will outweigh the risks. With careful planning and regulation, we can ensure that this technology is used for good and does not cause any harm. How will this technology impact our lives? This technology will likely have a major impact on our lives in the future. As this technology continues to develop, it is likely that we will be able to create digital copies of people that are so realistic that they are indistinguishable from the real thing. This could lead to all sorts of new opportunities in fields, such as entertainment, education, and customer service. However, this technology could also pose a risk to society as a whole. As digital copies of people become more realistic, it will become increasingly difficult to distinguish between them and real people. This could lead to widespread deception and make it difficult to trust anything we see or hear. It is up to us to ensure that this technology is used responsibly and does not cause any harm. We must also be aware of the potential risks of this technology and take steps to mitigate them. If we do this, we can ensure that this technology is used for good and does not cause any harm. Thank you for watching, and please leave a comment below on what you think about this technology. Also, please don't forget to subscribe because there's a lot more interesting things to come.